everyone, CeeCee here for a DLP project. I know it's been a while, and as you can see I have a lot of empty pages in front of me. I will fill those in eventually, but for now I'm going to do the week of October 17th, which is the current challenge, and the monthly theme is translucent papers. The challenge is vellum, to use vellum, and the prompt is sheer genius. So I'm going to start by adding 2 dictionary pages with the Collage Page by Tracy Bautista. So I'm going to add a layer of the Collage Page on the actual page before, and then I'm going to add some more on the paper, and that will prevent the paper from buckling. I know that I risk the chance of getting it glued down like this, or at best do an image transfer would be awesome. But yeah. Alright, so I'm gonna put that down. I'm gonna use an old gift card so that I can smooth that out. There we go. And if it's crooked, oh well. It does not matter. So you see, when you add the wet glue on both the paper that you're gluing and the surface that you're gluing it onto, there is no buckling whatsoever. It's just smooth and perfect. So while this is drying, I'm going to show you the main attraction of these 2 pages. I have a piece of white cardstock here that I'm going to place on, underneath my piece of vellum, just so that you can see it better, because on this background it won't show as much, but I really do not need the white cardstock. And I have a few alcohol inks. I have Aqua, Stream, Wild Plum, Butterscotch, and Salmon. I also have a straw and an old knitting needle. And I have the alcohol blending solution, or you can use rubbing alcohol. I was able to find the 99%. I don't think in this technique it matters all that much. But essentially what I'm going to do is add drops of the alcohol inks and then blow on them to disperse them. And the coolest thing happens when you do this on vellum, because it's not a 100% porous surface. It is a little bit porous, but not like regular cardstock or paper. Now, I have seen this technique on a YouTube video dating back from 2010, but from Sara Sandberg, and I will link somewhere in the description her video so that you can check that out. But she did it on transparency, and I thought, well, why not use it on vellum? I'll try it, and it totally works. Not the same way, but it does. So what I'm going to do is start with the light pink, I think. And when you blow in the straw and you put it down and you pick it back up, make sure that you identify the end where you're going to blow on or through. Maybe like put a little rubber band or something, or put, I don't know, washi tape so that you know which end you should pick it up, because I've noticed that sometimes when I blow on the ink, this might touch the ink, and then you put it in your mouth, and it's not the most pleasant thing, and it's probably not very good for you either. So mine just happens to have this ridge, so I know that I have to blow from this end. Okay, so I'm going to start. So I'm going to take my bottle with my left hand and then blow on this with my straw, and let me just move in closer. So I'm going to drop it and blow on it. Of course, now this color is super light, so let me just turn to Wild Plum because you'll see it better. So drop, and depending on how you blow, or even if you blow from the center or from the side, you get different results. You can also turn your paper around, and you can see it here in when the eggplant mixes with that lighter ink, it also bleeds a different way. Now, I don't know how many blows I can use on this thing because it dries quite fast on vellum, but let's try. So you can see if you are able to get little drops that haven't dried yet, you can still reactivate them by blowing on them. So let me just do a couple with the eggplant and then I'll move on to a different color. Okay, so now I've decided to add just some drops of that lighter blue, which is the aqua, and I'm loving the effect. So let me just drop a bit of light pink here. I didn't really want to change the color of the eggplant, but you know, I'm going along with it. Maybe I'll add like, okay, let's try something here. Oh yeah, the knitting needle. I'm going to drop some ink on the knitting needle and I'm just going to touch the paper. You see what happens? It's a much more subtle accent and I love that. I'm going to do it here as well. Whoops, I got a few extra drops. That's okay. It's so much fun to play with and just let your imagination go really wild. Oh, I'm loving the tiny dots. Okay, let's see if I can get some. Oh, big dots. Let's blow on this one. And I'm sorry sometimes if you get like a headshot. I really can't control that. Now I need to go all the way to the edges because this paper will get cut in half. With the blending solution, I'm able to reactivate some of these colors and then move them into each other, which is exactly what I want. Ooh, look at that. That is gorgeous. Look at that spot right here. Oh, I love that. And I find these look like bouquet, you know, if you're familiar with the photography term. Oh, wow. Like that. Okay, this is way cool and I need to stop here because I could do a whole bunch of, I can see myself doing a whole bunch of these in one setting and then just keep them as backgrounds. Wouldn't that be fun? I want to drop some blue in here. While the piece of vellum is dry, I'm going to do a wash with gesso over the text paper. I'm just spraying with the water bottle. So I'm going to let the gesso bond a little bit with the paper and then I'm going to go over with baby wipe just to remove some of it. Now I'm going to dry this. I'm going to cut the piece of vellum because now it is dry. So I got my trusty paper trimmer and this is, I believe, 8.5 by 11. So I'm going to cut that in half at the 5.5 inch mark. Now what I'm going to do is take the one of the Faber-Castells. This is India ink, so this will definitely dry permanently. I'm hoping that it won't smudge I have a test paper here that I did beforehand, so I'm just gonna test it out, dry it very slightly because this is vellum. And yeah, that won't smudge, so that's perfect. Okay, so I have the S tip and the F tip. The F tip is a little larger. So I think what I'm gonna do is scribble some sort of flower. I'm gonna do 2 here and then 1, 2, 3. So I'm gonna use the circles to create the flowers. And so I have the F tip to start off with, and I'm just gonna loosely, very, very loosely, follow the circles of, let me just zoom in, of what was created by the alcohol inks. And I'm gonna put like basic lines for now. And I'm gonna go and refine this later on with the fine tip. So 1, 2, this one I might turn into kind of like a rosebud, like this. That's interesting. And then I'll have this one here. Let's start by the middle. I mean, I'm doing squigglies just because it's fun. Just following my instincts here, not thinking too much. In fact, not thinking at all. It's very liberating. You should try it sometimes. All right, and so now I've got the S tip, which is the super fine one, I guess. So I've got my 5 flowers. Isn't that fun? Okay. So what I was gonna do is tack these down with some brads. All right, so I'm gonna go for super gold, shiny, bright brads. So I'm gonna take 8 of them. So I have this little like foamy mat. I'm gonna put that under here. Make sure that I don't poke my finger. And kind of eyeball this. I never measure. So I have my pokey tool, or the paper piercer. I love how the alcohol inks dried on the vellum. So I'm going to put one here. And, oops. Let me just poke the brad first. And I don't care that this is going to go through at all. It doesn't bother me. I'll figure out something to do on the other side. I'm going to move this mat. Oh, try not to poke yourself. Put another brad in. This is looking awesome. I'm loving the way it looks. As a final touch, I'm going to add some gold stickles in the middle of a flower. I don't want to cover everything, but maybe like a couple of dots here and there. This one just in the middle. This one right here on top. So I was tempted to do like a black border around these, or maybe even use like my own handwriting to devise like a border. But I think instead I'm going to journal around here. I'm going to write someone had to think of this technique. Someone had a stroke of genius and shared it with the world. and it wasn't me. It's sheer genius. It's not very legible, but I know it's there. And it kind of gives it that fun element to look at. So I think I'm going to leave it like that. And I'm quite happy with it. This was so much fun to do. Oh my goodness. I can see myself sitting at my table for hours and hours making multiples of these and keeping them for later projects. Also, I wanted to mention, do not attempt to heat set the vellum with your heat tool, especially if you have one that is stronger like mine, like, you know, this one, as opposed to the heated tool from Ranger. The heated tool Ranger, you might be able to still use it on vellum, but I would just suggest that you let it air dry. The alcohol ink does not take a long time to dry anyway, so it's not like you're gonna have to wait hours and hours. The stickles though, you have to wait until it dries, obviously. The other thing you could use too while you're putting your alcohol inks together, you can use the mixatives. That's also part of the alcohol inks line, and this is copper, but I also have gold and silver. However, just be mindful that this will also react to the other colors that you're putting down, so it will create an interesting dimension, I'm sure, but it's not as precise as, you know, if you were going to add something that will not interfere with your alcohol inks. So I'm done. I hope that you've enjoyed this. Give this technique a try. Like I said, I have put Sara's video in the description. As usual, thank you so much for watching, and if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below, and I will see you later. Bye.